In today's episode, we'll be talking about what I experienced and what I learned in my first lawsuit. Lawsuits are absolutely no fun, and it seems like the only people that win in a lawsuit are the attorneys. So, we're going to learn about how my first lawsuit got started, what standing on principle will do for you, what I should have done at the first signs of trouble, and what my biggest mistake was. So stay tuned. We're going to cover all that right now. I've only been sued 3 times in my entire 2,000 house career. I learned a ton during those 3 lawsuits, and I've learned how to set myself up so that they'll never happen again. Pay attention. It all started as I became more financially successful. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people that were less fortunate than I was. And so I started finding people that didn't have a home and in fact were homeless. And part of the problem with being homeless is you can't get any subsistence checks because they don't send welfare or SSI or disability checks or veterans checks or anything. They don't send those checks to Bridges. You got to have a physical address. So I decided to pick a few people and change that for them and get some assistance and subsistence that they were due. So the first person I picked was homeless and had the capability of getting about $2,400 a month coming in, but they didn't have a physical address. Well, I'm in the business of seller financing homes, so I came up with this brilliant idea. I would get this person a very affordable mobile home somewhere. I would make it their address and I would seller finance it to them and they could pay for it out of the $2,400 a month I was going to get coming into their mailbox because they were due that money if they could just get through the paperwork and check all the boxes right and get it coming in. Well, I had the house and I did get them through the paperwork and I did get $2,400 a month coming into 123 Main Street, this little mobile home, and everything should have been fine. All I was asking was to repay my $6,000 cost for the mobile home. I was only into the mobile home for $6,000. So I thought if they could pay $350 for 18 months in a row out of the $2,400, then I would have my $6,000 cost back and I could use that $6,000 to go help another person and they would be debt free and be collecting the whole $2,400 after that. So they'd be collecting $2,150 for 18 months and then they start collecting the whole $2,400 after that. Seemed like a good plan, right? Well, it didn't work out so good. Almost from the beginning, the $350 payment to reimburse me for my $6,000 expense, what I cost to buy that mobile home for them, didn't get repaid. There was all kinds of excuses and none of them were worth a nickel. So at some point, months and months and months in, I decided I had to stand on principle and they had to either pay me or they had to get out of the house. So I went to file for foreclosure, and the minute I filed for foreclosure, that homeless person that I helped get in the house filed for legal aid and obtained a free lawyer and began a lawsuit against me. Now keep in mind, I wasn't trying to make a profit off the mobile home. I just wanted to recoup that $6,000 expense so that I could use it to help another person another time, the same kind of plan. You would think that was noble enough, but in front of a jury of my peers, they made me look like Hitler. You would have thought I was mass murdering people by the hundreds of thousands in that trial by jury. Now, I won that trial, but it cost me $40,000 to win. That's what standing on principle will get you. What I should have done at the first sign of trouble is just written the house off. I should have given up the $6,000 in the name of charity. I was going to take a plan where I could get reimbursed and do it over and over again. And I was going to turn that plan into a one-time plan where I just gave $6,000 and it was over, because apparently the money's not going to return under these circumstances. Now, before we get to my biggest mistake, let's take time to hit that like button and hit that share button. And of course, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. There's some valuable lessons in the months and months to come here at this YouTube channel. So my biggest mistake was trying to do charity where there was a payment due. No matter what bargain it was for that payment, no matter how much money I helped this person or brought to this charity, the fact that I was still expecting the people I was doing charity for to do something for themselves is what backfired on me. So I learned a very valuable lesson. If you want to do charity, then write a check to a church. If you want to do charity, then take your weekends and go work with Habitat for Humanity and build a house. But one thing you don't do for charity is let people into your house at a bargain. You either give them the house or you find some other way to do charity. Because once someone's in your house, trying to take that house back is very tenuous and arduous, and it could have gone a different way. Lucky for me, the jury of my peers saw that I was noble, saw that I was trying to do the right thing, saw that the person that I was trying to help was doing nothing to help themselves, even when I gave them the money to help themselves. Lucky for me. Jury trials are unpredictable. The things that were said about me in that trial were unbelievable. You might have remembered a hearing where they talked to the potential Judge Kavanaugh about getting on the Supreme Court justice, and you saw that man break and cry on national TV. I had to go to the restroom myself and break down and cry sometimes during that trial because I could not believe what they were accusing me of. It was audacious, it was ridiculous, it was completely fabricated, and the one thing you learn about trial by juries, it's about anything but the truth. It's who can put on a better show and who can fool the jurors better. That's what I learned about a trial by jury. Like I said, I've been to trial 3 times. I have won all 3 times. All 3 times it cost me about $40,000 to win. So it wasn't really a win at all. It cost me a small fortune to win those. And what I learned was, don't get into lawsuits. Settle quick, settle fast, and your first loss is your best loss. I would have been much better losing a $6,000 mobile home or an $8,000 mobile home than winning a trial by jury that cost me $40,000 to $45,000. So the summation of this entire segment is that those 3 lawsuits would never happen to me again because I know exactly how and why they happened. I was trying to do something that was inherently flawed from the very beginning. These people were in homeless positions quite possibly because their thought processes don't work the way yours and I do. So when we try to rationalize a plan that should work for us or anybody that we know, it may not work for them because it's just not within their grasp. So that's what I would like for you to take away from this segment. Do charity with a check or with your labor, but don't do it with your investment properties. I'd like to thank you for staying to the end of this episode. I hope it was helpful. And for staying to the end, I would like to reward you with a sample of a recorded Q&A call where I'm on the phone for about an hour and 45 minutes with investors all across the country. I want to give you a free sample of this recording so that you can hear how our once a week, Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time calls go. This is every Tuesday evening for the last 5 years, and you have the opportunity to join that phone call and ask any question you want once a week, every week, all year long. So check it out. Just go to 1000houses.com/free-stuff or click this link at the bottom of the page here, and it'll be digitally downloaded to you, and you can start listening to this recorded phone call and see the tone and the feel and the value of these calls. Because I'm sure once you hear this, you're going to want to participate yourself. All right, this is Mitch Stephen, and follow me to the next segment.